everyone, I'm Jay.
And I'm Sean.
And we watched an episode
of WandaVision.
That's right, another week, another episode.
So we're more than halfway through now, because this was episode 5.
This was number 5. Number 5 on a very special episode, it's called. And it was pretty special, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was.
So we are on episode 5. We are in the 80s. And I think this week might be the most recognizable week. And I don't know if that's just because I am more familiar with 80s sitcoms. But she looked a lot like Family Ties to me.
Yeah.
We first see our lovely Wanda. She's got curly hair all over the place in her scrunchie, high-waist pleated pants, and a floral vest. Whew. And that Vision is doing like Mr. Keaton cosplay, I have to say.
Yeah, totally.
Rocking
also
that,
loved in the intro with like the kid Vision pictures.
Oh my god, Baby Vision! Oh my gosh, get out of the way, Baby Yoda. Grogu. Ever since they came up with that name, he's been...
I know you're
Baby Vision! Little chubby Baby Vision!
Yeah. Adorable.
So adorable. And another great theme song.
Yes. Yeah, and very 80s, as you said. It's
Super
really
80s.
got all of the feels to it.
Oh boy.
We're going to have a lot of emotions on this show.
Yes, because it is a very special episode.
Yeah.
So if you didn't grow up in the 90s as I did, this is a real phenomenon.
It was.
I guess now we have like trigger warnings and ratings on TV. Back then we would just have a very special episode, and that let our parents know that we're either talking about drugs
drunk
or
driving.
suicide.
Yeah.
Yes, like the big topics. And yet they could be tackled in just the one episode.
Yep, someone who was introduced as a good friend was going to have,
for one arc,
potentially a fatal problem this episode.
That's right.
Or
Unless
a very
the caffeine
close
kills.
call. Yes, then it's just a close call.
Oh boy. Okay, so let's discuss this episode. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it, come back.
Yeah,
okay.
This is big.
It's a big episode. So, in the beginning, we've got the crying baby twins. I thought it was a little controversial that Wanda tries to magic them to sleep.
Yep.
That seems... She was like, oh, parents get to cheat once in a while. I was like, I don't know if a witch is allowed to use her powers just on her children for something like this. There should be some sort of rule about that. And the Viz, like what a nickname.
It is.
He just doesn't
go well.
He's such a silly dad in this one. You know, dads are so inept, and he's got like the soothers, the binkies in his ears. Oh,
and he doesn't even have ears.
He made it work, okay?
Yeah,
he made it work. And Wanda wonders whether they should get help. I thought she should get an Uncle Jesse.
Yeah.
But no, it's not Uncle Jesse time yet, guys. Not yet.
Not yet.
Instead, we have neighbors who barely knock. Sitcom trope.
Yep.
Glad to hear the studio audience really responding and giving her the applause when Hahn slides in, almost like Kramer, except wearing Jazzercise outfit. Barely knocks, comes right in, as apparently neighbors do. Lock your doors. There's Agnes. She's gonna come in. She's got a couple tricks up her sleeve. Oh, those hints are getting heavier as we go along, aren't they, Sean?
They are. It's true.
What's her real witch name?
Agatha Harkness.
Harkness, thank you. So this is an interesting little thing that happens with Agnes this episode, is that she's talking about giving them a hand with the babies, and she kind of fumbles because Vision, I don't know if his Vision is going off script, but he's really kind of in nervous dad mode. He's not his usual confident self, and that makes Agnes stumble. And when she stumbles, she asks Wanda whether she should take that again. Like, Wanda is the director of this episode, this very special episode. And And so then there's this weird moment between the three of them because obviously Wanda is keeping up appearances like she's not the one inventing all of this. And Vision is like, what is she talking about? This is weird. Like the whole moment is just very strange, right?
Yes.
So what is up? That,
Well, we now know
everything
that
is crumbling.
Agnes knows it's not real either.
Right. Well, we've known that, but
Yeah.
but Agnes doesn't totally know what's going on.
No.
I don't think. I don't think even Wanda totally knows what's going on.
No, but she's getting a pretty good idea, even if she doesn't want to admit it.
Okay. So, then the twins go from crying babies to 5-year-olds. Immediately, just like
Mid-scene.
that. Which is, okay, another sitcom trope from my youth.
They would age them, absolutely.
They would just age them out of convenience for the writers.
Yeah.
Because the writers are like, oh, we're so tired of having a baby tag along for 2 episodes. So now we're going to send them off to school.
Yep.
Just make them school age immediately because if they can't say funny catchphrases, what's the point?
It's true.
So that's fine. Then we kind of are cutting to outside to where the sword people have set up. So this is the first sort of episode where we're doing both.
Both at the same time.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's interesting. Now, the head honcho guy out there, the director, has now identified Wanda as the principal victimizer.
Yeah. It's a specific title.
Yes. Harkens her to a terrorist, in fact.
Yeah, he puts that label on her, absolutely.
He does. Now, our dynamic trio. So we've got now Monica
Rambeau.
Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy Woo.
And Darcy Lewis, Dr. Lewis, and Monica Rambeau. Those three, as they should be. They're on, our side.
Yeah.
They're the good people out there.
Absolutely.
And they don't like calling her a terrorist, even though Monica was in there and tells us that it was really kind of a bad experience being in there. Like, it hurt. It hurt and it felt like drowning in grief. So this is an unpleasant experience, and yet she still doesn't want to call her a terrorist.
Nope.
And seems to have some sympathy for her.
Yep.
And not just sympathy, which I appreciated, but she reminds people how powerful Wanda is and that she almost defeated Thanos. So she's a little bit of a Wanda defender, surprisingly.
Wanda.
Yeah, she is. So it is nice to see her, coming to that defense. She says, this was not a premeditated thing that's going on, and she didn't use lethal force when she ejected Monica. She's doing her best, to put some controls on her power. But when they're talking about this and Wanda's powers, which do seem to fluctuate or be ambiguous, we don't understand. Nobody does.
Yeah.
Not even Wanda.
True.
And somebody, was it Jimmy, mentions also that Captain Marvel also took on Thanos. And the look on Monica's face surprised me.
It did. Yeah, something went down.
Something happened.
There's a little bit of tension between Monica and her former BFF, Carol Danvers.
Well, her mom's BFF.
Her mom's BFF, but they were good buds too.
Yes, obviously. See, I didn't necessarily know if it was bad, but she definitely changed the subject.
She totally has changed the subject.
Now, as far as we know, Captain Marvel went off planet after the last movie and doesn't come back, but clearly Monica's had some contact.
Yeah.
Something's amiss.
Yep.
Anyways, interesting little hints being dropped all the time. You have to watch this show carefully.
It's true.
Or more than once.
Yep. Or you'll be left behind.
Ooh, it's tough.
But they'll catch you up, don't worry.
Okay, so then the head honcho plays them footage. Shocking footage. We have not seen this before. We've not heard of this before. Suddenly he's playing people footage, which, Not just on our behalf, but it might have been nice context for the people there too, who are working on this, that 9 days ago, Wanda walked into some top secret facility where they were holding Vision's corpse, and she stole it. So this whole time, we're wondering, what is the deal with Vision? Is he just her imagination? Well, no, it seems like she stole his body and is now reanimating it somehow. She has resurrected Vision.
Magic.
Well, yeah. So not only is she resurrecting Vision, she is transforming matter, perhaps even creating matter, to make this whole Westview village work.
Well, I think just transforming, because we know you can't create or destroy matter. You can only change it.
Okay, but her twins...
Well, they're just matter from somewhere else. Maybe they used to be like a sports car. I don't know.
So this is where you draw the line. Everything else, all of the other magical things, that's fine. Those don't have to apply to the real world rules. But this thing, no, that's crazy.
I'm just saying it to be get you in a word.
To get me! Don't you get me!
I got you.
You did not get me.
Oh, fine.
So anyways, the gist of it is, she's got a lot of power.
Absolutely. She runs this town.
Is this perhaps too much power even for her? Is there someone else putting their hand in this?
No, I think she's doing all this.
I don't know, Sean.
I know you don't know. You just posed that question.
Yeah. Not only do I not know, I think it's not just her.
Okay.
That's what I think. Now, we have to interrupt this very special episode for a commercial. So we got some paper towels going on. Classic paper towel spill, red juice all over the counter, and Mom has got to wipe it all up because Lagos paper towels are for when you make a mess you didn't mean to. Oh, these commercials. These commercials are getting extra interesting.
So I didn't get this one.
Well, Lagos is where she had that thing in, was it Civil War?
Oh, when she blew up the building.
Yeah, like the whole Black Panther thing and like people died and that started a whole thing. That was in Lagos. It was in Nigeria, remember?
All right. Now I do.
She made a mess.
She made a big mess.
She didn't mean to.
She didn't mean to. She was trying to save people.
Well, that's the tagline of the paper towels.
Oh, there you go.
When you need to clean up a mess you didn't mean to make.
Yeah.
And that juice was the color of blood.
It sure was.
Oh boy. Anyways, I thought that was kind of a genius little...
Absolutely.
But there's a... Well, I mean, obviously she always had her own guilt about that.
Yeah, for sure. How could she not?
Even though she didn't mean to.
No.
But that was a pretty classic example of her powers are not always what she wants them to be.
That's true.
She was trying to do a good thing.
Yep.
And didn't make it.
No.
And,
Yep.
Anyways. Whew. Oh my gosh. There's so much going on. It's just crazy. So this whole episode, this very special episode, I think today's difficult topic is grief. Obviously, we have talked about Wanda grieving Vision and creating this whole world for it. Monica seems to be an ally, even though I don't think Wanda sees her that way quite yet. I think Monica's trying to, get her there.
Yep.
But Monica also just, got unblipped, or whatever you want to call it, a few days ago, and woke up to find out that her mom is dead. So... even though she's been thrown into this tense situation, she also would have to be processing her 5-year absence and
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people on this site might be doing the same. It's crazy to think that they've all just been thrown into this crazy situation moments after being unblipped. And she learned that her mother died.
Right.
So I think maybe Wanda has recognized that Monica also had grief.
I'm sure she knew. Mm-hmm. She's a telepath.
That's right. So in this episode, what happens is the now 10-year-old twins, they were 5, now they're 10. Why are they 10? So they can have a dog named Sparky.
That was the rule.
Who dies.
Yep.
This episode really went quick.
It did, yeah. What's happened?
Really went quick. The dog dies. Oh my gosh. And the kids, little Tommy and Billy, want to know why Mom can't just bring him back. Because Mom
they ask the tough questions.
Can fix death, right?
Well,
that's what they think.
Yeah, that is what they think.
I don't know how they think that. I mean, I guess it's because they're born of her.
Yeah, they know.
So they just know. And she's like, no, some things you can't, you have to just accept them. But she's obviously being a total hypocrite, having recently stolen their father's corpse.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a gray area also, because he's not really alive.
What?
Vision is not a person.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So maybe a little different. Maybe we can fudge that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so at all.
I mean, it was against his do not resuscitate document that apparently he signed in front of the FBI, the sword head.
Yes.
That was a weird little moment.
That was a weird moment. But what that guy said was that he didn't want somebody to be able to use his body as a weapon.
Yeah.
But the lab she breaks into, are we certain that they weren't doing something nefarious?
Oh, I bet they were doing something nefarious. Mm-hmm. That's what government labs do, isn't it?
Well, that's what Marvel has taught me. Yeah. Anyways, pretty crazy stuff. These kids are asking her to bring back the dog, and she is refusing, even though obviously she's a huge hypocrite.
Obviously.
Meanwhile, Vision is starting to see cracks.
Yes, he is.
He's starting to be very suspicious of things. Obviously, it started right at the beginning of this episode with the Kathryn Hahn thing, where she kind of broke the scene.
Yep.
And he's like, what is going on? And Wanda won't talk to him about it. Then he goes to work, where work has recently gotten personal computers for all of their computing needs.
Commodore 64s.
Thank you. And did you hear what's on those computers?
Apparently email.
That's right, email.
I mean, that's a surprise.
So this is a new way. We've seen the Sword people try to get through on a radio before. Now they are sending emails. And so when Vision receives an email, creepily, the whole office has started chanting it in unison.
Yeah, it was.
That was weird. Even weirder, though, perhaps, is that when he touches the computer, something happens, like the computer goes off, and you see him kind of look at his hands like, what would happen if I touched this guy, Norm, his colleague, Norm? Norm, poor Norm, doesn't know what's coming. But Vision touches him, and it kind of switches off the character, the sitcom character of Norm. And for a minute, we see the real guy, the real Westview resident who has been sort of made into a character. But he drops the act, he's panicked, and he just says, help me, there's a woman in my head, it's excruciating, she's controlling me. And then we start to see, like, he remembers his dad is sick, and, he has all these outside concerns. And then Vision, touches him again, and it goes back to Norm, just the silly old coworker Norm.
Yeah.
But obviously, Vision believes that Wanda is the woman in his head controlling things.
Who else would it be? He knows his wife.
He knows his wife. Well, does he? He doesn't even know himself.
That's true.
Which is what he tells her later on. So when he is home that night, home from work, he brings up all of these anomalies, the Maximoff anomalies that were referenced in that email. And he's like, what is going on? I know you know something. And he says something like, I wanted to believe at first that it was subconscious, that you were doing this. So he is really like, he's onto it.
Oh yeah.
He's onto it. And he's hurting.
Sure he is.
And he tells her, she tries to shut down the and this was brilliant. Wonderful writing. She tries to shut down the conversation by rolling the credits. Loved that. But he's like, no. Follows her out. And so the fight keeps going, even though the credits are still going in the kitchen.
Over. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, no, we're doing this. Briefly, they both like almost ignite their powers. Like this is a showdown they're having. Like he's really pressing her on this. And she's not having it. But he tells her, like, I'm scared. He still doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know what he is outside this town, what he used to be, nothing. But he knows that this isn't real and that she is controlling stuff. So his experience is really changing.
Yes, it is. He's waking up.
Mm-hmm. So that's only going to get more and more difficult.
Sure it is, because Wanda's not wanting to answer any of those questions.
No, but she does tell him that she doesn't know how this whole thing started either.
She does.
Which is what makes me feel like she's not entirely in control. She is maybe not the person who started this.
That's a good pickup.
Yeah. And then the doorbell rings, to which she says, I didn't do that. So something else is at play. She didn't do that. She didn't make the doorbell ring. She doesn't know who's there. She sure is shocked when she opens the door.
She is.
Mm-hmm.
As are we.
Yes. So you want to tell the people who is there? Of course they know. They've seen the episode. Who is there?
It's Pietro.
Her dead brother.
But not
Aaron
Taylor Johnson from the MCU. It's the other guy.
Evan Peters.
Evan Peters from the X-Men franchise, who played Quicksilver there.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our first Fox character in
Crossover.
The MCU.
Whoa, eh?
Yeah, big deal.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's a big deal in a lot of ways.
Yes.
The big deal for me, in addition to just breaking that wall down, which we knew was going to fall,
mm-hmm.
we're using a character from the existing movies as the same character to fill in a gap here, but he is Magneto's son
mm-hmm.
in those movies.
That's right.
And we don't have a Magneto yet in
no,
the MCU.
We don't. But he is a mutant. Like, Quicksilver, it's different.
That's
obviously.
Right.
They were manipulated with, I don't know what stone it was.
Yeah.
The same one as Captain
Stone.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, that Quicksilver is a mutant.
That's right.
So, Now we pull back to the sword people. Darcy Lewis is like, she recast Pietro? Because of course, this also happened a lot in sitcoms where, the old Aunt Viv disappears, a new Aunt Viv comes in, and we just pretend like do.
The same.
Yes, but like you said, the MCU is planning to have a Fantastic Four movie in the future.
Yep.
They are opening themselves up to these properties. This is the first crossover. But that's the thing. This is not necessarily her brother.
No.
It's a Pietro.
Yep.
But where did he come from? Because that's not the brother she would have manifested if she was in control.
That's true.
So who brought this guy in?
Yeah, unless she's found another loophole through the multiverse.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, but that's
ripping
huge.
holes in the multiverse.
That's absolutely huge. This
is
a whole new world that we're in now of anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And just as a sidebar on this, in the anything can happen category, when on the outside, Monica Rambeau and Jimmy Woo and Darcy Lewis were talking about how we could get Monica back in the hex, as we're calling it, Wanda's bubble. She was talking about building this sort of mobile bunker thing that would keep her safe. And she said that she knew just the aerospace engineer to help her out with that. But she never names this person. So who in the MCU, or indeed even outside of the MCU, could possibly be popping up next week, do you think?
I don't know. That did not trigger me.
Okay. Because it's triggered some people to speculate that Reed Richards could be on his way.
Okay. I mean, that would be crazy. That would be a whole other level of crazy.
Okay. Within the MCU, there is the Blue Marvel. So there is the potential for yet more characters, existing characters, to be showing up. But it's clear the way she said it, she knows just who she should get. She's setting up somebody to come in next week.
Yep.
Who's it gonna be? I mean, how can you top the guest appearance on this show? Pietro is back.
Yeah.
A weird Pietro.
Yeah.
A weird Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Ooh, she was shocked.
Well, why wouldn't she be shocked?
Yes. And I don't
she
even
knew
know.
who it was.
Well, did she? Because she doesn't really say anything, and then he says, "Oh, my sister." So I wonder if she even really knew who this was.
Okay.
Because she didn't make that doorbell ring. She didn't know who was gonna be there, and she was certainly shocked to see him.
She was.
So.
As were we all.
Yes, we were. Yes, we were. Whew. What a weird episode this was.
Very weird.
So many weird things. So we didn't even talk about Monica, and see, both sides of this are providing us with lots of Easter eggs now. But you know, Monica's being examined now that she's been thrown out of the hex, and she has an X-ray, and it comes up blank. Why is that? They were so busy, they immediately got into
They moved on.
Yeah. They showed the footage of her stealing the body and stuff, so the stuff is happening real quick there. But why is it blank? Did something happen to her while she was in the hex? Is this like the beginning of her own origin story?
Could be. Because in the comics, she is a superhero. She was Captain Marvel for a time.
Oh my.
She's had a lot of names.
Okay.
But she has powers.
Okay. Interesting. I just felt like that. I mean, nothing in this show is a throwaway line.
No.
I think you have to realize that everything means something.
It does.
So it's exhausting.
A little bit.
Or fun.
Or fun.
So fun decoding all of these exhausting details. My goodness. What else have we not even talked about? Oh, you know what? When Wanda goes outside the Wanda bubble, she leaves the hex momentarily because we talked about the email, them trying to contact Vision through email. They try to contact Wanda through an old 80s drone. Monica is doing this. But unbeknownst to her, head honcho guy there, Tyler.
He's a problem.
He is a problem. It seemed like they were friends, Monica and Tyler, once.
They're not going to be friends anymore.
No, that seems to be really going out the door. He has armed the drone and instructs them to shoot on her, I think.
Yeah, well, they do shoot on her.
Ooh, guess who does not take
like
kindly to that? No, she does not like it. And so then there's a whole thing where she comes out to confront them. And she comes out looking like an Avenger.
Yep.
Looking like her old self, her old hair, her clothes, and
the accent.
a disappearing Sokovian accent. Interesting.
Yeah.
This thing just keeps getting deeper and deeper. But yeah, she comes out and she basically tells them, like, I have everything I want in there and I am never giving it up.
Yep, she does.
I mean, it's not a threat, but...
Well, it's a threat. If you don't leave her alone,
yeah,
you're going to have problems.
Mm-hmm.
And as they did rightly mention, she almost took down Thanos. So she's not going to have a hard time with this contingent of sword operatives.
Right. And she does kind of make a display. She does something to force all of the guns onto
Tyler.
Bad Tyler, yeah. But even within the bubble, within the hex, we're seeing cracks in her. So we're seeing cracks in Vision, we're seeing cracks in her. The first thing I noticed was when she produced that dog collar. And even Vision calls her on this, like, whoa. Agnes is in the room.
Yeah.
Like, in the first couple of episodes, they were so careful with everything. And now she's so cavalier. So she's not caring anymore.
No.
She's not working as hard to preserve this illusion.
Although, we weren't seeing the whole thing in the first couple of episodes.
True.
We know that now.
Yeah.
That she was doing other stuff. She's controlling what's actually making it into the broadcast.
That is true. Another thing that Vision brings up is that there are no children in Westview. There are no kids there, except for theirs. Yeah. Despite the fact that there is a park across the street from them.
And they had a thing for the children.
That's right. The whole talent show was for the children. But there aren't any. So what's up with that? Where are the kids? What happened to the kids? Oh boy, Sean.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So also, this was a weird moment, another weird moment with Agnes. So I still don't know what's going on in here, Sean. She knows stuff. She knows they're playing. And yet, when the kids are like, Mom, can't you fix the dead? And Agnes is like, you can do that? She's astounded by it.
Yeah.
That felt like a real, genuine reaction. Like, she is surprised to learn about this.
Yeah.
And let that slip.
Yeah.
So, with Vision walking around, you would think it would be less of a startling revelation. But clearly it's not.
It's a gray area.
There's just stuff going on all the time.
There is.
All the time. And then, of course, when that doorbell rings and Pietro is standing there looking a little like an Uncle Jesse type, I just want to say,
absolutely.
in his leather jacket. That set off an awful lot of alarms at the sword camp.
Yeah, it did.
So what do those alarms indicate? I wonder.
Probably a breach of the multiverse.
Yeah, they have an alarm for that?
I bet they do.
I mean, I guess Sword should.
Yeah. They should know. I mean, otherwise, what are they doing?
That's true. So, how are you feeling about this episode? Everything we learned?
Yeah.
There was a lot.
It's a game changer.
Uh-huh.
It is. This is, anything now can happen. And you say, is Reed Richards the aerospace engineer? He could be. I don't know.
It seems a little less crazy to even ask these things, right? Like,
Yeah.
now it feels kind of possible because...
Yeah.
I mean, which Reed Richards would even show up?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, Sean.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I guess really, hopefully neither of them. Hopefully they just move on from those two terrible attempts.
Fair enough. Okay. Anyways, this was quite an episode. Whoa.
It was.
Whoa.
And it really sets up the last 4 episodes.
Oh my goodness.
I have no idea what's going to go on now. Like, none.
No.
But there are no rules.
No, there aren't. Like, this is an all bets are off kind of game changer, as you said. Like, this is really... Okay, they threw down the... Well, I shouldn't say gauntlet in this case.
No, I guess not.
Don't use that word in the MCU. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Anything is possible. And something is coming next week.
Stay tuned.
Any predictions, Sean?
No predictions.
Whew.
No, I really have no idea.
Okay. It's exciting, though.
It is.
It was a
other
very
than the
special
90s.
episode. The 90s, yeah. A very special episode dealing with death. The dead dog was sad.
It was.
Of course, there's a lot more death than that to be contended with in this show. Do you think they did a good homage to Family Ties?
I think so, yeah.
To the Keatons.
I think so.
Do you remember a good, very special episode of Family Ties?
I don't.
Okay.
I remember that Michael J. Fox, was he Alex P. Keaton? Is that right?
Oh, yes.
I think he did have a friend who got addicted to drugs, but really, like, that's who didn't on an
Right.
80s sitcom.
Well, he also had an uncle who was an alcoholic.
Okay.
Remember that?
I
Played
don't.
by Tom Hanks.
Really?
Uncle Ned.
Oh, that's funny.
He was such a drunk, he even drank their vanilla extract.
Oh boy, he was really hard up.
He was hard up. And then he attacked Alex.
Well,
Yeah.
that's, I mean...
So they had
They don't pull any
several
punches on
very
these
special
sitcoms.
episodes. No.
Yeah.
No, they did not.
No, it's...
So, you know. So they also had surprising guest stars.
Yes, that is surprising.
I don't even know if Tom Hanks would have been a guest star back. He was probably,
He's probably just happy to get the role,
mostly
yeah.
unknown. Yeah.
Probably auditioned and everything.
Anyways, this was astounding. It is the highest rated show so far. You know, I'm sure people are watching, yelling at their televisions.
Oh, yeah.
Because what the heck?
Yeah.
You can't predict this show.
No.
You think you get comfortable, you think you know the new rules, and then they change them. They're changing them every episode.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's
It
exciting
is.
television. I think you have to admit that.
You do.
And, I mean, I have to say though, this show is a little intimidating. It feels like it's for super fans because there are so many details to pick up. It's hard work. Can you watch this as a casual viewer?
It would be hard because if you haven't, I mean, it's not even a casual viewer of the MCU. If you haven't seen the X-Men movies, this does not have the same impact. So
That's
it is
right.
interesting that they are assuming that you're a comic book fan.
That you
You've
know
seen all the
everything.
movies, which they were right for us.
Yeah, I mean, I review movies.
You've seen
I am not a comic book fan.
Okay, but you've seen it. You appreciate it.
I did know. Whew. Well, you really liked that Quicksilver.
That was the better Quicksilver.
I remember seeing it in theaters and you like really loving that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, when they have the time in a bottle scene in Days of Future Past, that's one of the best scenes in a comic book movie that there is. It's great.
There you go.
There you go. And that's this Quicksilver.
And he's here. Is he going to be around next week? Will he stick around for the 90s? Will he be our Uncle Jesse?
They have to keep him. You can't just have him show up and then be like, it didn't happen. I mean, they could. Obviously, anything they can do, they want to do.
They already have the impact.
Yeah.
You know, they can't take it back. They already landed a huge gut punch.
Yeah.
And good for them.
Absolutely.
And for not having this leak.
Yeah. That's
Fantastic.
a big deal.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Good stuff, Disney. Good stuff, Marvel. Can't wait for next week.
Absolutely.
Let us know what you think is going on in the comments. Please. You know I need all the help I can get. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.